It is the ugly side of the beautiful game. This is what officers face at football matches every week.
Football isn't just a game, it's much more important than that. It's our life, it's our feelings, it's our passion. It dictates our mood. We love football, we live it, we breathe it, we eat it. Football is everything. It's football heritage. The pre-game nerves, the nail-biting moment, nothing beats a derby day.
We're still fighting for this title, and he's got to go to Middlesbrough and get something. And I'll tell you, honestly, I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
As far as Southgate! In contrast to the tone of much Shearer, who hits it! And scored! The time for Manchester United with Beckham! But that's his chances. Oh, brilliant goal! A brilliant goal!
Losing is no option.
Where they play, how they play, if they play. That's football heritage.
Yes, and welcome to Rivals React. I hope you like the intro. I'm a bit of a fan of the intro. I can't lie on that one. How you doing, lads? Start off with you, Chris. Welcome along. Top fhtv. How you doing, my friend? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for the invite. Appreciate everybody coming on, and of course, like, subscribe, do all the jazz, man.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you very much. Jacob, friend of the family, United Spurs of America. You get to double up and help me out here and protect Tottenham Hotspur from all of these others. How you doing, mate?
Doing well. Don't know if we need too much protection this week, Perchy, but good to be here. Good to share the screen with you, gentlemen. So yeah, let's have a fun chat.
Yeah, and your beanie hat is a massive one. It actually, where it cuts off, it actually goes all the way to the ceiling. People
yeah, yeah, it does. It is that tall. I also brought Chewy, so we got three Spurs fans in the house. Yeah,
3 Spurs fans versus 2 non-Spurs fans. It's brilliant. And Mons, Big Six fans, how you doing, my friend?
I'm not too bad. Top of the league. Big game on the weekend against Man United. Pointless Europa League game on the way, and hopefully Man United's demise today. Well, how can I not be enjoying that?
How can you not? Look, let's start with Liverpool. Liverpool, that's a good start. I think you started off with that. First topic really is Liverpool showing champion spirit is the way I've worded it. And look, Mons, I'll come to you first to start this all off, my friend.
Yeah.
Game realistically 1-0 down for a lot of it. Go and win it like you did. Look, you could argue there was a little bit of luck involved, but
there was. Sometimes
in that sort of thing, you make your own luck. So look, let me know what you think, because it's a good result against Palace, right?
Listen, black and white, yeah, it's a good result. I feel like, if I'm honest, if they don't go down to 10 men, I believe we lose that game. I believe we lose that game. But at the end of the day, I think that Liverpool as a stat, like we've got 18 points from losing positions, and I think that's 7 more points than anyone else in the league. So some people will look at it as the mark of champions. Some people will look at it as Liverpool are spooky and are unsustainable. And need too much. And if they're going to go for the title, need to do a lot more in terms of controlling games and getting over the line without having to make it like a struggle up until the 95th minute. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at every other team around us as well as Liverpool, and no one else exactly looks convincing to me. Man City don't look convincing. Arsenal don't look convincing. Spurs were the most convincing team in the league before the Chelsea game, but still for me unconvincing due to their injuries as well. I'm not even going to mention Chelsea and Man United; they're fodder to me. So again, I just feel like it's not the end of the world that Liverpool aren't as convincing as they should be. It means you can go up a gear, of course. You can definitely go up a gear. I want to see better performances, especially from the forward line, because the likes of Trent has had to save us. Endo to score a screamer, McAllister scored a screamer. You know, I'd like to see the front three, apart from Mo Salah, kind of chipping in a bit more, because I feel like they need to step up a level. But you can't argue with a result. You have to, you know, the super subs have been doing their thing. And of course, there is going to be dips in form. We're not going to be perfect all season. I still think we need a 6. I still think we need a left centre back. We're now starting to get hit with the injuries as well. I think we've actually had quite a lot of injuries. I think we've just, because our results are going well, it's not been highlighted as much. You know, like you look at McAllister, he's injured at the moment. Matip's out for the season with an ACL now. Alisson was injured for a little bit as well. But Stefan Bajcetic is injured. We still haven't seen Thiago all season. So for me, and Konate's been in and out of the team as well. We've had to play with 10 men for over 60 minutes for 3 games in the Premier League so far. So when I mention all these things, if Liverpool forfeits, it would sound like, oh yeah, these are valid excuses, but we're top and we're dealing with all of this. And we were the team that was mentioned that doesn't have the depth to compete with Arsenal, that doesn't have the depth to compete with City, that doesn't have the 6 in front of his defense to stay compact and to maybe do something in terms of challenging for the title. But yet again, here we are. So the table doesn't lie and stats don't lie, and I think we've done really well. That's my monologue kind of done, but yeah.
No, listen, look, Jacob, I'll bring you in on this. I think, look, talking of Liverpool, I think they've had injuries, they've had players. I think Mons makes a great point. They've had players coming in and out of their squad, but they're managing it, right? And they're top of the league, but everyone around hasn't been massively great, but they're top of the bunch. But I always suggest this, like 3 games changes everything, right? 3 games will always change anything. Liverpool lose 3 games in a row. Look, we know it as Spurs fans, we lose a run of games and it completely changes the whole season in the aspect of it. Liverpool going to lose a few games here and there and it can change again. So are Liverpool at the moment consistent enough, in your opinion, that they can go on and win this title? Or do you think the likes of Man City, Arsenal are going to start pushing back forward in that way?
I still think Man City are, for me, still the favourites, despite the gap in the table. I believe they're still only 4 points off the top. They've closed larger gaps. I'd know because they've closed larger gaps. You know what I'm saying? So, but I feel like the general level of the Premier League has increased this year. So therefore, I feel like it is going to be harder to close gaps in the table. As able as Man City are, the likes of Tottenham, you know what I'm saying, Villa, Newcastle, those guys are the ones for me that I feel like are going to probably change the tide of the Premier League. Do you know what I'm saying? Newcastle and Villa beating Arsenal. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, definitely.
Quite convincing.
They didn't beat Spurs, though, did they? Hey,
and for me, as I said, Spurs, about the injuries, probably should have beaten Arsenal at the Emirates. Probably should have won the game. You know, I feel like because the Premier League's more competitive, 14, 15 game winning streaks that, you know, you'd see Man City do, you'd see the Liverpool of old do as well. I don't think that's really going to happen this season. I don't see it. I feel like there's always going to be blips. And for me, that's why a winning run, as you said, next few games is always so important. Any run of games is going to send you clear. Any run of games for even Spurs was to go win the next 3 games, they're back in the conversation all of a sudden. After not winning any in 5.
But others have to lose as well.
Of course. The others will be playing each other. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's go on.
Look, I think, listen, I said that Arsenal was going to win at the beginning of the season, but this obviously can change at any moment. So I think Liverpool has everything to win. I know you mentioned the DM, but I think we have we know what a DM kind of looks like, and we know how he plays. But I think that we're not taking into consideration the club. Maybe this is what he expects from his DM, to be a McAllister, to be a creator. You know what I'm saying? And to be fair with you, you can look at it half empty, half full. You know, as Liverpool, they haven't. You can say they haven't been performing well. They've been getting scored on. But at the end of the day, they have something that what I call the heart of a champion, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't take them out. They are the Real Madrid of Premier League. you cannot ever count them out until the last half a second. You know what I'm saying? Like you can, and it happened with Fulham. You know what I mean? You could say on the last one that it was if Crystal Palace didn't get a red card, that the Liverpool could have lost. But what happened with Fulham? You know what I'm saying? What happened? It's been happening all season long. So listen, I don't think there's a reason why Manchester City and nobody has ever won 4 Premier Leagues in a row. We don't take in consideration the amount of games, Champions League, the amount of minutes that these guys are playing. The more I watch City, I don't think they have it in their tank. And to be fair with you, Liverpool has got to be parallel with City winning this one. Yeah, I don't think City are above.
Parallel.
Yeah.
No, look. No, listen. You make good points here. Look, I'll sort of find a bit, Jacob. I'll sort of bring you in, and that's sort of what I've mentioned a moment ago as well. Was look, we've seen inconsistencies of the Premier League this season. I think that's fair to say. I think no one has sort of been there going, they're super consistent. As sort of what Mons was making, Chris made some really good points as well. Was can Liverpool sustain it, or are we going to see it by Christmas, by New Year, that we could be talking about Arsenal top of the league, Man City capitalising, getting back? We'll bring up them. Aston Villa, are we fair to write them off? Spurs, could they get it together and start getting 4 or 5 wins on the bounce? Look, I think this Premier League's wide open at the moment. I think, is that fair to say?
I think everybody could absolutely be gotten at. I think we've seen that over the course of these 16 matches, that every single club is susceptible to. If I'm not mistaken, did Luton score versus City?
Yeah.
Adebayo did. Adebayo scored, right? If I'm not mistaken. So, bro, I'm telling you, I'm no shame to Luton, but if Luton's doing that, Sheffield, Bournemouth is out here getting 3-0 versus Manchester United, I think everyone in the top absolutely has holes in their squads, and they could absolutely be got at. So when it comes to who I think is going to win the league, I always going to put my money on the favorite. I don't actually bet, but if I did, metaphorically, I would say the favorites for me are still City. At some point, they're going to turn the oven on and let it start heating up. It's just a matter of when. Is the Luton victory that moment? Is resting Haaland the moment now that they've allowed him to sit back? What do they say about a slingshot? You pull it back in order to go forward. So I think maybe that's a little bit of that mind games Pep's doing with the squad, and I think that I've seen it too many times. City just, no matter where they're at, they just make that run. Whether they're at the top, in and around the top, they get back to the top. I said at the beginning of the season, I always felt like the people who I would give at least second place to, or that I'm hoping will give City a run for their money as well, would be Liverpool, because I feel like Jurgen Klopp, you can't really count out a world-class manager like that at any juncture in the season. I mean, look at where y'all were at this point last season, Liverpool, and then look at where y'all ended up. You know what I mean? That's if I'm not mistaken, Mons, y'all were in and around the middle of the table around this time last season, right?
I think it was about fifth or sixth.
Maybe my memory serves more dramatic.
It was January, February we dropped to 9th. I think in 10th.
That's okay, but see, that's what I mean. You dropped to 9th, and then you still got into a European position, and to me, that's a sign of a manager that still has the ability, let's say, to take a squad at any juncture in the season and right the wrongs that are happening. I don't think there's a whole lot wrong going on at Liverpool outside of injuries. And maybe, McAllister playing in a 6, you need a legitimate DM. But I still think they have the best 5 forwards in the league. However they want to play them is up to them on the day. But I would never count Jurgen Klopp either. I think Arsenal are the main imposters up there, if I'm honest. I know there's no Arsenal rep. I know they're playing right now, and I hope they take a big fat L. But I think they're the main imposters, and that's no bias. I just don't rate Arteta. How many dogs are you going to buy before you just got to give up hope that no matter what you name these dogs, you can't just force things to happen like that?
I think.
Go ahead, bro.
No, I'll just say quickly. I think because, as you said, that being 10th, and then I think we did actually make it back to the top 4, and then last few games we drew 2 games, and then we ended up coming 5th. But again, if you look at our last 10 games of the season, I believe it was 8 wins and 2 draws. So that record there, taking that into the start of this season, I believe that I think that those 10 games, having 8 out of 10 games, winning 8 out of 10. By the way, that was your first 10 games this season. It was 8 wins and 2 draws.
Yeah.
8 wins and 2 draws. Yeah.
And that had you guys flying high top of the league. No one even, you know what I'm saying? So that is like that in a 10-game stretch to win 8 of those games is like that is title. That like if you was to keep that throughout the season, easier said than done, but that's as good as going for a title. So I think that helped us. We took that into the season, into starting the season, and we've kind of quietly gone about our business since then, in my opinion.
Yeah, so. No, definitely. Look, let's slightly move on because I want to move on to Manchester City for a second. And the news has come out, technically unofficially, but from what I believe is Haaland's out for 6 weeks with injury. Are Man City in trouble?
Nope.
So look. Chris, I'll come to you first. I'll start leave it with you. Man City without Haaland, they're still without De Bruyne. John Stones is sort of slowly getting back into the team at the moment from injury. Are Man City in trouble without Erling Haaland, even if it's just short term in the sense of 6 weeks?
Well, they got Julian Alvarez. He is very, very lethal, and people don't really talk about him much. And so, I mean, if he gets, he's a different type of striker, but you can trust. I've been watching him since River Plate, so you can trust that he's going to score goals. And the thing with De Bruyne, man, we always say when he comes back, if he comes back, but look, he can come back as quick as he goes out, man. So I don't even know that City can, you know what I mean, really count on him. To be fair with you, to me, I don't know, man. I understand the City. To some people are the favorites, but I don't think they're as feared as some people put them out to be. I mean, I think any team can beat them. Liverpool can go head to head, no problem. Tottenham, look at Tottenham with a depleted team. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think they're invincible.
No. I agree. They're definitely not invincible. But what we do know, and look, I'll come to Jacob on this one. And what we do know on this now. What do Man City do constantly every year? They have a poor first half, and then the second half, they win 15, 16 games, and then we go, up there we go, title's done. Is it the same this year, or is it different? Because I hear so many people saying it's different from last year. So is it different, or is it just we're all getting a bit carried away for a bit of nothing at the moment?
I think it is a bit different when you look at the likes of Riyad Mahrez, Laporte. They have De Bruyne out for most of the season. He will come back at some point. I mean, it's absolutely different, but maybe it's I don't know. Maybe I've seen City do it too many times to where I just think it's inevitable at this point.
But the thing is that the miles keep adding on, right? The minutes keep adding on. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like winning a 3-peat, 4-peat. I mean, you know, it's a lot of games on these guys.
Yeah, but there's still some fresh legs in there. Jeremy Doku didn't do none of that. Josko Vardiol didn't do none of that. Ruben Diaz was part of a stable. John Stones is not there right now. They have. I mean, Phil Foden wasn't even a starter last season. So Julian Alvarez, I think he was about 50% started last season. Some were 60%. I do think that it is a bit different. They are a bit more youthly. So I don't think the run of games should necessarily dictate the fact that they are able to be got. I do agree though in the sense that. Like I said, I think everyone could get at them. If Luton could score against you, that's why I was thinking about Arsenal, bro. Luton scored 3 against Arsenal. I'm not trying to take it back to Arsenal. I'm just saying Liverpool drew versus Luton at Kenilworth. I'm saying getting a clean sheet at Kenilworth Road ain't for everybody, unless you're Tottenham Hotspur, of course.
But
I know the question was about Man City.
They gave you a game as well. The point is with Kenilworth Road, they've given everyone a game.
Yeah, they have. Yes, and they
do.
Liverpool,
they frustrate everyone. I think the midfield's very
Arsenal.
underrated.
In fairness, they probably deserve to beat us on the day. We did win, but we were awful on the day against Luton. And like in the second half, they had chance after chance against us. They should have probably got a result against Arsenal. Arsenal turned it around right in the death, and they were very good against Man City. Look, Mons, mate, look, come to you again. Obviously, you won't want Man City to win the league, obviously, because you think your boys will go and do it. But Are you still fearful of Man City? Because I'm hearing a lot of people already going, I'm not bothered about Man City anymore. Is that too premature? Because I think it is. I think Man City will
think they're better.
bounce back, and then everyone goes, "Oh, here we go again." But look, let me know what you think, my friend.
I'm gonna stick with what I've always said. I think Man City are actually more of a cohesive unit without Erling Haaland, in my opinion.
Ooh,
I've always thought that.
That's a take and a half. I like it.
Yeah, I just think that they won the treble, and you can't argue with that. So obviously, people are gonna probably use that as a main stake against my point. But I'm talking about. I didn't talk about winning games, game after game. I said cohesive unit. When City are cohesive, I believe they're a harder team to beat. When it's more of a how can we feed the striker and play with a traditional 9, I believe it's a bit. It's not worse. It's just different from what City's philosophy is, and they're still able to play in that way. Up until maybe the midfield, but I think a lot of last season was so much of that De Bruyne to Haaland combo. How many times did you see that last year? De Bruyne to Haaland, De Bruyne to Haaland, De Bruyne to Haaland.
Yeah.
Now that De Bruyne isn't there, Haaland, we can all see that. Yes, Haaland's got 14 goals in 15 games, but that's because of how good Haaland is, not because of I think of the creativity. I still think the creativity could be a bit better, and the service can be a little bit better than for the standard of Man City, by the way. So without Haaland and De Bruyne, I believe, when Haaland's not there, I believe City are a bit more of a cohesive unit. And the fact that De Bruyne is not there, there isn't that sort of, that one pass, that one cross outside of the boot, 1-2 goal. Now I feel like City can maybe more build from the midfield to the attack in more of in a way where they don't have to keep spamming crosses into Haaland all the time.
Yeah.
And I think it will go back to City just really, really dominating teams. I could be wrong. I'm just so used to City winning game after game without a striker or having an Aguero, because Aguero used to get kind of different type of striker to Haaland, used to get involved a bit more. You know,
but kind of like Alvarez. Alvarez kind of like so they're one player that they're not the people don't talk about is Gundogan. Man, they miss Gundogan. I don't think City have ever been as dependent, maybe before Pep, on a player like they are Rodri this season. It's night and day. You know what I'm saying?
Scored, by the way. Nketiah goal.
Yeah, I was going to say Arsenal have just got one. Eddie Nketiah's just scored a very, very good goal, to be fair.
Oh, there it is.
Very good, or just average?
I think
it's a good goal.
Listen, it is
all right,
kind of.
I trust you.
It is. Well, I will say it is what it is in a sense. I think with Man City, we really, really interested to see how they get on. It's funny because everyone seems to call me a Man City fan when I don't understand why. It's just because I think that they under Guardiola, they've built an amazing football squad. But listen, I think there's so much to talk
average
about.
Goal.
With them in this.
Just seen it. Sorry. Just saw
it.
It.
You're
Average.
shameless. You're shameless. If Richarlison scored that, you'd be going absolutely crazy.
Well, Richarlison scored one just kind of like that.
Hey, look. I was going to leave it at base. I was going to talk about Newcastle Spurs a bit later because I knew that there's 3 people on this panel involved in that game. But look, let's talk about it now. Let's slightly move on from Man City. Let's talk about this. Spurs battered Newcastle. What is the target for both teams? Look, we can sort of delve and talk about the game and stuff. Look, I said it. I've said it all along on my thing. I think Spurs, if they'd won 10-1, we wouldn't be massively surprised. We had chance after chance after chance after chance. I thought Richarlison should have scored 5. And that, I'm being honest, I mean, him getting 2 in argument is bad. But he should have got 5. He had so many chances and gilt-edged chances. Brennan Johnson hit the same post on both ends of the pitch once. So he should have got a brace. And by the way, he was brilliant on Sunday.
I think 5 is a bit much. He could have had a hat trick. He should have had a hat trick. He could have had 5.
Oh, he should have.
I mean,
he scored 2.
I think to say 2. He should. Yeah, but there was only one opportunity where I think he got caught in between 2 minds. Yeah, where I'm like, Richie, you should have put that one away as well. He should have had the Hattie, but
the one before that though, when the ball comes in from Son, whipped ball across the goal, and all he has to do is get any touch on it, and he mistimes his run, and you get your head on that or your leg or anything, and it's a tap in at the back post.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah, and it looked like I think he got a little piece of somebody on the way. I'm not making an excuse for the guy. I'm not saying these 2 goals eradicate the games and games of misfortune and error. I'm not saying that. I think I want to be as fair as I can to the lad and say maybe not 5. I do agree he should have had 3. That one where we're talking about where he should have either just put your foot or your head through it.
Yeah,
to
just
both.
to make your mind up, right?
Yeah. That one should have been 3. The other ones, they were just, I think, mistimed runs. That happens to everybody. That happens regardless it don't matter who your striker is. Mistimed runs
I'm not knocking his performance because I still he performed really well. I'm just sitting there going, you could argue if you had someone a bit more clinical up front.
Oh yeah.
If
Harry Kane, you could argue,
I was going to say, if Harry, put your fingers in your ears, if it was Harry Kane, he probably gets 5 goals, and you go, what a performance.
Well, he's a schnitzel eater now. We don't talk about him.
It doesn't. It's not sitting there. I'm not like the performance in itself was outstanding. By the way, let's get that into context. And sorry, Chris, I'm just going to keep gloating on about it, and then we'll come to you in just 2 seconds, my friend. I thought Brennan Johnson was outstanding. I thought. Sarr should have had missed a sitter as well, by the way. He had an absolute storm of a chance. But Spurs were brilliant. But was this Spurs that dominated because of them, or was this because of Newcastle not at the races? Chris, I'll let you jump in here. What take it from your side of it. What happened?
Well, I think it's both things. I mean, Spurs played probably their best match all season, if I'm not correct. Well, I don't know what you guys think, but in Newcastle, we're just tired. I mean, that's not an excuse, though. I don't never use injuries as an excuse. Matter of fact, we have the players that are going to play. So, there's no really injuries in Newcastle anymore. So that shouldn't be an excuse. And also because when we beat Chelsea and Manchester United, nobody mentioned the injuries. So,
good point.
And so I think Tottenham played terrific. I think when you ask what is the, I don't know if you said levels or the objectives or where they should be at. I think with all due respect, this is where both teams need to be at and would be at. I mean, yeah, you can potentially say that Tottenham, if they go in at 8 whatever match run and they get some points and they can fight for the title, you can say the same thing about Aston Villa or Newcastle, to be honest. But if you look at it from the objective perspective, I think that both teams are going to be 4th, 5th, 6th. You know what I'm saying? It's just that's why before this match I said this is a must win for Tottenham and for Newcastle. When you look at the table, when you look at getting points, beating kind of your rivals in that section of the table. So Tottenham took it serious and they brought it home.
Chris, you make a good point. And look, Jacob, I'll bring you into it on this one, and then I'll get Montz's opinions on it as an outside of it. I think that we're now starting to see a slight thing, and I think no disrespect to Villa, but I think Villa will probably end up being there or thereabouts with the likes of Newcastle and Tottenham. I think I stand by my theory that it will end Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal as the top 3, and then Spurs, Villa, and Newcastle in some combination between them. I think it'll be.
Don't let Spurs finish above Arsenal. I'm gonna be shameless. Don't let Spurs finish above Arsenal this year. If
they do, they do. But I think the season is going to peter out in that we're going to have 2 groups of 3, and I think Spurs will be there or thereabouts in that conversation. Listen, wherever we finish, if we finish in Europe, I think this season's been a success for us. But look, let's sort of delve onto the game and stuff. Like, we made it comfortable, right? Let's be fair. In my opinion, I thought we were absolutely comfortable.
Yeah,
I think so. Go on.
Oh wait, sorry.
No, go on, one of you. It don't matter who.
Go.
I want to hear what Mon said. I want to hear.
Go on, Mon. You jump in, my friend.
I don't like the whole notion that Newcastle are tired. Don't buy it. Not really a fan of that, because when they smashed Chelsea and they smashed Man United, no one was saying they were tired.
And I mentioned that, but what I'm trying to say is not as an excuse. I meant it more as just playing back to back with the same lineup. But that's not an excuse.
The general notion is that that's like not just your opinion. That is the general thing, is that every time Newcastle put in a spooky performance away from home,
I agree,
they're tired. Newcastle have been spooky away from home all season. All season they've been spooky away from home. But when they're smashing PSG or they smash Man United and they absolutely batter Chelsea, it's like what a team, amazing, unbelievable, all these compliments. And the second they lose is, yeah, man, because of the injuries, they're just tired, man. They're just tired. Listen, these men have spent as well, you know. They've got the likes of Lewis Hall. Dan Burns got injured. Liverpool's just slotted in. Jamal Lascelles isn't someone who should be good enough to play, but ever since he's come in, he's been magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. When he's
and to me, it's the manager that's at fault, because if the players are not Trippier, you can tell that he was not in the match. You know what I'm saying? He was getting cooked by Son left and right. But the manager should know this dude is not right. He's been playing back to back. Let him out, take him out, put Livramento there, Lewis Hall on the left side. That's the manager's fault. 100%. Can't use that as an excuse.
Bro, I agree. And the thing is, I just feel like Newcastle's quality isn't as good as what people say it is. I think they are at their best when they're at a cohesive, flying, pressing, aggressive unit. And once the aggression and the pace dies down, they get exposed for the quality that they have on show at the moment. I think Tonali would have helped that, the likes of Tonali, and I think Callum Wilson probably has more goals in him. For me, when Isak's not in the game, he doesn't really.
Callum Wilson got to hold that. He's a bum.
No. Wilson's a good striker, and I think for me, he's a
better podcaster than he is a striker.
Again,
just
one national team.
He came on the second half and he was the best player for Newcastle.
Yeah, like that's
congratulations, Eddie. How we doing?
Like that's just because he had a spat with Vicario. So
he was just
Jake. That's bad blood there. But call it how it is, man. I think like Newcastle, for me, they need to be at their flying best, aggressive, and at home. Away from home, they've been moving spooky, and Tottenham oiled them up and gave them the spanking they needed. Like, I'm sorry, this game had been coming. Tottenham are better than Villa when they played them. They were better than West Ham. They were better than Wolves.
But I mean, I don't think that maybe Jacob might think what I'm about to say, but I don't think that most Spurs fans think they're going to come to St. James's Park and say they're going to beat Newcastle. I don't think, you see what I'm saying? Like it's they got the win at home. You know, we play horrendous, but you know what I'm saying? Like I think this is our level, bro. I mean, you know,
I would still believe that we would take it to you at your own place, and if you're not on your own P's and Q's that day, that we could get a victory. I would never consider my club, like the way that we play lends itself for either dramatic wins or dramatic losses. And like you said, Mons, we've been better in all these matches that we've dropped. The only one, Wolves, we were terrible. We were so awful in Wolves. Yeah, they deserved all 3 points. And there's some matches that even we won that I would say we got lucky to get those results. But that is the play style. That's how it lends itself, in my opinion, to get these results, because you play such a high line. You saw when we were up Newcastle, we were up 3-0 still going for the goal. You know what I mean? That's the way that we play.
In the start of the second half, it was a little bit of a holdback by Spurs. What happens there?
I just think we allowed you to have possession, and we see what you could do with it. What did you do with it?
Regardless of how you look at it, whether it's Newcastle doing it, whether Newcastle pushed up on Spurs or Spurs let them, you see what happens when you just stay back a little bit. They get the open spaces, and the third goal came on.
I don't want people to think that I think Newcastle are shit. I think at home, Newcastle are very that is one of, for me, the top 3 places you just don't want to go in the Premier League.
But Mons, it's not to me it's not like they go away and they just, you know, shit their pants. I mean, it's not that. It's just that, again, playing with the same lineup nonstop. The energy at home helps you a little bit.
It is. It's gonna, as I said, I'm not saying Newcastle aren't tired. They are tired. It's just that I don't like how people pick and choose when they want to use the tired card.
Right,
bro. We're all tired. I woke up late today. I'm tired.
I'll chime in here for a second and just look. I get it. I get the sort of tired card. I do. Do you know what? Like, I get it. I actually get what you're saying, Mons, because you can't.
If they won, they wouldn't have said they wouldn't. Do you think if Newcastle won for 1, you think man, they're saying they're tired?
Mons, it would have been Eddie. Eddie's so brilliant. Think about how good Eddie Howe is. Oh my goodness.
But he
has to hold that. Ainge Postecoglou, put the work on him. Hold that, Eddie. How we doing?
But Jacob, what I was trying to say, what I actually agree with what Mons is saying is it goes both ways, right? Because we praised, a lot of us praised Newcastle when they had all these injuries and they were beating the likes of Chelsea, thumping them, going to the Parc des Princes and deservedly probably getting a result there, and they got nicked by a shocking penalty decision. So you've got to have it both ways, and then go, well, are we then blame? It's the same. It's the same players, right? That then, but in fairness, got battered to Spurs on the weekend. So it goes both ways, and I have to be fair with it. I'm also one of those Spurs fans that doesn't use injuries as an excuse. When we were losing games of football, I wasn't blaming us. I wasn't blaming the injuries while we lost games. It was because we lost focus. Because I say this all the time, right? And I always try and put a bit of context and conjecture to everything I say. Because I always say this thing with the whole thing with Tottenham. I said, everyone sort of goes, oh, we played amazing in the first half. The players were amazing. And then the second half, oh, but it was the players' fault we lost. Well, you can't have it both ways, right? So for me, I think we lost games because we lost focus and composure in our second half. You could argue
we lost games because we couldn't finish, Perchy.
But no, but
we lost games because we couldn't finish. We created tons of opportunities versus Villa versus West Ham.
But that's my point.
That's what I'm saying. But we weren't.
That's my point.
That's not a failure of setup or anything. That's not a. That is just a failure to finish your dinner.
Setup. But my point being is, in that sense, is we can't what I'm saying is we blame players, but then we go, well, we played amazing in the first half, but we didn't finish our dinner, which we were like that for a while. And then in the second half, go, oh, well, it's the players' fault. We didn't win the game. It's like we lost it because those. I think it was very combination. By the way, that's history now. We've won a game. We've got a game on Friday, which is a massive game against Forest. But listen, I don't want it all to be about Tottenham. It's kind of slightly move on about other stuff. But what I will say is listen, it's. I always said this. I said this after Man City, and then we lost to West Ham. I said after Man City, I said it's all great getting a result there. Getting late equaliser, but you've got to go and bounce on with results. Now we've got a big result. We've got a big result against Newcastle. Now the most important thing is getting the next result on Friday. The next result on Friday is now more important. I think you can say that about most teams, right? Say that about Liverpool. Great result, getting a result against Palace. But if you don't win against Man United on the weekend, it's all for nothing, right? And it sounds so cliche, but I actually kind of abide by that. Like, it's all well and good getting a good result against a big team like a Newcastle. If you don't get a result in the following weekend, it kind of equates to nothing. But we'll kind of move on from it because I want to sort of talk about some other teams, because there is a team that I got a lot of stick on at the start of the window when I said that they are going to do very, very well this season. Everyone went, nah, you're talking rubbish. You think they're better than Tottenham? I said, well, I don't think they're better than Tottenham, but I think they're very well run, and I think they're a very good team. Aston Villa. Aston Villa are showing incredible home form. I think they've won 16 home games now in a row, I think it is. Yeah. Are Villa a serious outfit? And I really wanted to get a Villa fan on today, but they couldn't make it, which was a bit kind. But I want to get your guys in. And look, I'll start with Chris at the top here. Are Villa a serious outfit? And when I say that, I mean, are they going to finish in the Champions League this season? Are they going to win a trophy this season? Is Unai Emery the right manager at that football club?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think Aston Villa, Newcastle, and Tottenham, that's the fight right there. That's going to be the battle for that fourth, fifth spot. I believe that the fifth, because of City winning the treble, that the fifth will go to the Champions League, correct?
Only if it's, I believe, Tottenham, Man United, and Chelsea, because it's all down to coefficients. It's a very weird one, but let's keep it simple and say football, because this whole thing, man.
It could happen that they finish, that they go to European football, but then again, to my point, it's going to be what Tottenham and Newcastle do. That's going to be the battle. I think they could they finish third, second? I mean, it's just a big guess at this point, but they are playing really well. They're really great at home, and people point that out, but so is Newcastle, and I don't know what Tottenham's record at home is, but I'm pretty sure it's positive. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just that third, fourth, fifth is going to be up for takes for these guys. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but Unai Emery is a great manager, so it's good for them, 100%.
I think. Look, I agree. Unai Emery is a great manager. Look, Mons, I'll bring you in on this one, my friend. Unai Emery, when he went to Arsenal, got a load of stick, mocked. is he getting his last laugh here? Because he's come in and shown he's a proper manager. And I had this debate in a group chat. Like, I'm not going to bring up names, blah, 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 blah. But I was had this massive debate, and I said that I think Unai Emery is one of the most underrated managers in the Premier League right now. And when I say that, and then they went, what do you mean by that? And I said, look at what he wins. I think people forget what this guy does. He took a Villarreal side and won them the Europa League. I don't think people realize how good that actually is when they actually break it down. Villarreal or
it's just like Aston Villa winning the Europa League or Tottenham, or you know what I'm saying?
Well, Villarreal have never won anything in Europe in their life. I mean, you could argue Aston Villa have, by the way. Aston Villa have won the Champions League or the European Cup, as it was called back then. But in the context of it, is Unai Emery now getting the respect he probably deserves than what he did when he was at Arsenal?
First of all, I feel like he was given more time and kind of, I'd say, better resources within the size of the institution that he was in. So again, with Arsenal, he made a few questionable signings. The back line was quite bad. Obviously, Socrates, Bellerin, not saying he signed Bellerin, but Bellerin, Mustafi. They had Arsenal's back line back then was just horrible. It was a horrible back line. And I think what we have to credit Unai Emery is that he's able to take a setback and build himself back up and prove what he's capable of at multiple levels of clubs. I think it is fair to say at the bigger clubs he hasn't pulled his weight the way he probably should have. But now you're looking at him and going, well, for me, I'm one of those few fans that think Aston Villa could for me, they're nailed on top. They're nailed on alongside of Tottenham. For me, it's between Villa and Tottenham for the fourth spot. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I said if they beat City and Arsenal back to back, you cannot not put them in the conversation for ruffling some feathers in the title race this season.
Could they win it, Mons?
No.
You don't think they could win it?
No chance. Their away form's not good enough. And Liverpool, City, and Arsenal are way too strong. However, for me, they go and win their next 4 games, which I think they're more than capable of doing. Someone go check the next 4 fixtures. They're the easiest out of the bunch. Easiest fixtures out of the bunch.
I'll get it up.
They may well could end up top going into the new year. Simply because Arsenal and Liverpool play each other. Simply because of that. That alone.
Yeah.
You know, Man City go to the Club World Cup. So Aston Villa could easily be top coming into the new year just because of the fixtures. However,
they've got to play Brentford away. So I'll give you their fixtures just to give you a bit of context. They're playing, I'm not even going to pronounce their name on Thursday. Mostar. I'm not butchering it. I don't not want to offend anyone. Brentford away, Sheffield United at home, Man United away, Burnley at home, and then they got Middlesbrough in the FA Cup on the 6th of January.
They win 3 of those.
I see your point. You look at that and go, I think they get a result at Brentford. They beat Sheffield United. I think they get a result at Old Trafford. And I think they beat Burnley. If they get through that and get 12 points, you're sitting there going, hang on a minute. Whoa. Now we're getting a bit like, whoa, what's happening?
Exactly. The Girona of the Premier League.
That would be like the Leicester.
Shout out to Girona, by the way. Down the road from me down here. They are I might have to travel down there. They beat the local boys Barcelona from me.
You live in Spain, Percy?
Huh?
You live in Spain?
I live in Barcelona, my friend.
Really?
Girona's about 30 kilometers up the road from here. So
that's sweet.
They came down and beat Barcelona on their own patch.
We need to speak after the stream because I'm looking to move away. So you need to speak after.
Yeah, we'll talk after. Definitely.
These are conversations.
This is off-stream chats. Look, Jacob, I'll bring you into it, my friend. Is this a flash in the pan for Aston Villa, or are they the real deal? When I say the real deal in they're going to get in the Champions League. They are going to keep buying well under this manager. Are we going to start seeing maybe a shift in the guard when it comes to the likes of Aston Villa and Spurs and Newcastle? I'll keep those 3 in the same bracket. with the likes of Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool that are going to be probably challenging for the title.
Yeah. Good evening, first and foremost. This man, I mean, the pedigree speaks for itself. I'll be the first to admit, like, I thought they were a good side, but I didn't think they were this dangerous of a side. They've shown the ability to play on the front foot, high press, go and grab the goals, or go ahead and get the 1-0 win. To me, they're showing that they can win despite whatever the circumstances are. They've turned their home field into a fortress. I think this is all down to Mr. Good Evening himself. And while he does look like a cartoon villain, most of the time I see him, I just like, if you animated him, he would look like, I think, Despicable Me, the villain in that. He's becoming really the villain of the story here in regards to the Big Six. I think that he's came in there, he's kind of shaking things up. He's beaten who hasn't he beaten out of the top six so far?
Newcastle.
Have you played him?
Well, I said Big Six, not Big Seven.
Okay.
So
I should take Spurs out and be in the Big Six.
Yeah, that shows you don't know much about Spurs heritage, but continue. You can carry on. We can go down this route if you want to.
We can go down this road. That's cool.
That's what I'm saying. You're the one saying that we don't deserve Big Six spot. That all of a sudden Newcastle, all of a sudden Saudi money, they deserve to be Big Six because they got
what does the Saudi money do?
Come on,
you've been milking off Arsenal
you
resorting
to dinosaur juice, my guy. Come on now.
And you?
I'm talking about
what the hell
what do you mean in me? Self-sustainable club. We talking about run.
Whoa! Hang on a minute. I need some of that. You can't use what have you won as a Newcastle fan. No disrespect.
He's telling me.
Yeah, but Spurs. Listen, no.
Spurs and Newcastle have no right discussing about winning anything. Come on, let's be honest with each other.
Do you know what, man?
Bro, you sound like a 16-year-old on Twitter. I'll be straight up.
No. What I will say, my friend.
You
what I will
sound
say
like
here.
That, actually.
What I will say here, my friend. Newcastle fans can't throw the stick of what have you won.
But
what was the last trophy you won?
A long time ago. I wasn't even alive.
Point proven. I rest my case. Jacob, carry on speaking.
So Spurs can talk about winning.
No.
Are we really going to say that?
Spurs can talk about what we could all talk about whatever we want in theory.
Never said that. Hang on, Jacob.
And yes, we can talk about winning because we have. So I don't know what your point is.
We have
just because
we can't.
Okay.
What I would say is the argument on this point is I would always stand by it. For me, I'm not one of these. I don't sit there and go, oh, trophies. I don't give a shit. Like it's not for me. I don't have that debate because I just.
You know who does like those debates, Perchy? 16-year-olds on Twitter. Oh, look at no trophies. Just because you're the one that brought it in your lifetime, don't mean that it ain't there.
You're the one that said it.
I said Big Six. I said Big Six, and you interjected your bum ass club. And I said, hold on, you're living off dinosaur juice. Man, talk to me nicely.
This
all right.
If it wasn't for possibility this year,
and then you're like, well, what have you won? Man. What trophies you got? Sound like a 16-year-old on Twitter. Miss me with that shit, guy. Come on.
So do you.
Let's move forward. But listen, I
was enjoying that.
But Mons can just sit back and go Champions League, Premier League, FA Cups.
Yeah.
Like, listen, I think the argument here is what I will always say is when the trophy. I think what Jacob's alluding to here is the nonsense of Spurs trophy cabinet. But I'll sit back and go, let's look back at Newcastle's trophy cabinet. They didn't win a trophy in my lifetime. So I think we have to be when we use the trophy conversation. Football fans have to just sit back and go, well, okay, maybe I need a bit of self-awareness here.
100%.
By the way, I'm not one of these.
I was just gonna say right message, wrong messenger. Right message, wrong messenger. Because if I said that, none of you lot would say anything.
No, that's what I'm saying. If you're the likes of Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, Man City, Arsenal, I sit back and go, I can't argue with it, right? I think that's the fair bit for me. I can't sit back and argue.
Don't we have
that's what I said. Both
teams
can.
in Arsenal, so we can talk to Arsenal in that sense. But don't we have more European trophies than Arsenal, if I'm not mistaken?
Oh, I mean, if we're going to go that, I'm talking about historic on actual trophy counts. With Arsenal won something.
So there should be no bantering between Tottenham and Arsenal fans.
When you say
no trophy bantering, winning bantering, or should there be? Should there be Tottenham fans talking crap to Arsenal fans in any way, shape, or form
In
about winning.
In what context, my friend? In what context?
If they talk about winning, kind of like, say if I was an Arsenal fan and I was going at it with
not many.
with-
I'd love to know what Spurs fans are sitting there going about winning to Arsenal fans. Like, that's the difference. And by the way, PSV have just equalised against Arsenal. Talking about them.
Well, there you go.
But this is my thing though. Like, I don't think there's not many Spurs fans are sitting there going like, "Oh, bantering Arsenal." Like, yeah, you're going to get in rivalries and stuff, right? There's rivalries for a reason, right? And I get all that. I just think when people whenever the trophy card gets used, I just sit there and go, "Oh, the argument's over," because I can't. I'm not having. I'm not. I like to try and always become. Always try and not to be quite reasonable. Jacob, you know me very well and stuff. You know me. The way I debate, I don't get involved in that stuff. I debate logic, fact, and try and break it down and have that conversation. But that's the way I do things. But look, let's slightly move on because we're going for another 40 minutes, half an hour, 40 minutes and stuff. I know, Jacob, you said you might have to run earlier, but we can if you can stay, that'd be amazing. But look, let's slightly move on to an absolute shambles of a
guys. We've just seen a Saliba howler. We've just seen a Saliba howler. They won't talk about that. Wait, they will not. Wait, let me just see that once again. If that looked like Saliba to me, that is a howler. That is a howler. But they won't talk about that.
Love it.
Love it.
Look, big up to you, but big up. Look, Mons, look, I'll come to you after these two lovely people have calmed themselves down, whilst I have to calm the matter down. Look,
I'm good.
Let's talk about a team that are in absolute shambles right now. Man United are in serious trouble. Is it time for Eric Ten Hag to be sacked? And take this as the sense of, should he be sacked, not what you want? Because I would understand you would probably want him to stay in charge for a little bit longer, right?
Yeah, Ten Hag in all the way for me personally. You know,
Ricardo Pepe with the assist. Get in. El Chuco's finest. Talk to me.
Yeah, no, Mons, look, I want to ask you though quickly because I want to say, look, you guys play him on the weekends. It's kind of what I wanted you to go with it first, right? They're in dire straits, right? I mean, is it the manager's fault? I mean, I hear a lot of it's the player's fault. The manager has made some wild decisions since being there, right?
Yeah. Where do you even? I don't even know where to start with these, man. For me, in fact, I know where to start. The talent ID. So the three big boy signings. Mason Mount, don't know what's going on there. Barely plays, not fit, not made an impact this season. Zero GA in the Prem. Anthony from last season. Easily Man United's worst attacking signing within the last 15 years. Easily.
Yeah, I can give you that one.
Easily the worst. Not a goal in over a Premier League year. In over a year. Hadn't scored a goal.
Yeah.
No GA this season. No goals, no assists. Enough playing time to make a difference. Also decides to ghost out the only player in their team who would easily be their best attacker in their front line in Jadon Sancho, regardless of what's going on behind closed doors. Too stubborn for his own good. You cannot be stubborn when you are losing games and not performing to the way the board want you to perform. You cannot be stubborn. You win your games the way you win your games. You deal with your problems behind closed doors. You can't say, oh, I didn't start Jadon Sancho for X, Y, and Z reasons. It then causes hoo-ha. And then later on in the season, when you're asked about something, you go, oh, we're not really going to discuss matters that are behind closed doors. Why didn't you do that to begin with? You would have saved yourself. And then you would have had the option.
My point.
Yeah, you would have had the option.
That's exactly my point, my friend.
That's what I mean.
His decision making has been just all over the shop. And always sit there, and my theory's always been this, by the way. My theory's always been this, and I'll bring the other lads into it in a second, but my theory's always been like this with Ten Hag. It's all well and good doing what he did with the likes of Jadon Sancho, Ronaldo. Bear in mind, he was the one that got rid of Ronaldo out of Man United, by the way. Done all this, all well and good if you're winning, because if he's winning games without Sancho, you go, fair enough. They're not winning games. How did he get manager of the month last month was a baffling one. But
they are winning some games.
They are, but they're winning. Yeah, but like they're not sitting there going out there and like it's all well and good winning the odd game and here and there going, oh, they beat Chelsea. Great. Well, everyone's beating Chelsea, right? At the moment. Chelsea are all over the shop. Like
listen, Man United, I have to, bro, like they're just I'm at the point where I just don't think their players are that good. I think their players are okay. There is some quality in and around the squad. But as I said, the likes of Anthony, Højlund, let any other club within the top 8, not even the top 6, Newcastle, Villa, Arsenal, Tottenham, Liverpool, City, Chelsea, maybe not Chelsea because they're fodder right now. Any of us go and sign a striker for 72 million and we're on game week 15. We're on game week 16 and it's the 12th of December and man ain't recorded a single goal or assist.
17.
Yeah. So
this is 17 for coming weekend 17.
Yeah. And man ain't recorded a single goal or an assist. And we're nearly in the new year. You think any of us can get away with that?
But I would interject with the likes of Højlund because I actually feel sorry for the kid. And do you know why I feel sorry for him? Because I feel sorry for him because if he goes to look, hypothetical, ignore the price tag. The price tag is crazy. Ignore that for just 1 second. If he went to Man City this season, you'd go. He wouldn't be starting every week. He'd be getting a bit pop games.
He's not good enough, bro. He's not good enough to play for Man City. So that's
why. But he would be because he'd improve their score. Because I actually think he's a good player.
He wouldn't. He's not better than Alvarez, and he's not better than Haaland. So he wouldn't get a game.
I'm using him as the example instead of an Alvarez in a sense as a squad player. I think Alvarez at the moment is a bit of a squad player. He comes in and out of the squad depending if there's injuries, and he's very, very good at doing that. Right? Højlund's a good player. He's a good player. That's it. He's not great. He's not an amazing player. He's a good player.
I think
him going in there,
a decent player. He started. Don't you think that he started?
He has no. He has good attributes. He has good attributes.
He's a good player.
What you have to do is apply those attributes. And at the end of the day,
he doesn't put them on.
Morris for Luton has goals in the Premier League. Are Luton a good Premier League side? No. Richarlison has 1 goal in the whole of last season. Richarlison has 3 goals.
He scored 2 on the weekend. Let's show some respect.
He also Richarlison
I think he's awful.
But you man are proving my point.
Richarlison has more goals than Gabriel Jesus.
Give me all of these strikers that Isak has.
You don't think, Mons? You don't think that Højlund would start at Spurs?
No, he doesn't start. No,
over Richarlison?
No, Richarlison. Son being the.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, how about this?
Actually, would he start over
Richarlison has started.
Yeah, he probably does actually.
Richarlison has started 3 games for Spurs up front this season, and he's got 2 goals playing up front for Spurs this season. So, as far as I'm concerned,
I think it was his 4th. This was his 4th.
Wait, no. Well, yeah, okay. No, including the Carabao Cup. He scored 4 and he's 3 in the league. 3 in the league.
I'm talking about in the league, yeah. But
no Carabao Cup in the league. But he's only started at the number 9 position for that was his 4th time.
Oh yeah, so I thought it was 3 starts. So it's 4, like even 3 or 4, give or take.
He had 3 starts the first of the season.
I'm not even saying Højlund's crap. I'm not saying these shit. I'm not saying any of these things. But I'm sorry, as a striker, you are measured by your parameter in goals. If you are not playing false 9, he is not playing false 9 for Manchester United. They play a 10. Bruno Fernandes plays in the 10 or sometimes in the 8. And people, the consensus when Højlund was not playing for the first 3 games of the season, the general consensus was United are creating chances and no one's putting them away. Rashford's not scoring the goals, so where are the goals going to come from? That's why we signed Rasmus Højlund. When Spurs played Manchester United fans' excuse was, look at all the chances we missed in the first half versus Spurs, and then Spurs go into the game, and then they battered us in the end, right? That was the general consensus. So now that those chances are still being created, how can you then say in the same breath that Højlund, we feel sorry for him? Yes, he is feeding off of scraps in certain games, but he has missed sitters. He's looked unconfident. He doesn't look convincing in front of goal. He's changing one-on-ones into half chances because he's running away from goal and not to the goal. I'm telling you guys right now, it's not acceptable to have, even if he had 2 Premier League goals, I wouldn't say a word. To have no Premier League
Can I ask you a question?
Is not good enough. Not good enough.
Can I ask you a question? Is it because, and listen, I'm literally just being devil's advocate. I don't know the answer. I'm just picking your brains on this. If you put Rasmus Højlund in a much more functional team, where, by the way, I think Man United are all over the place.
Yeah.
Does he do better in a more functional team? Look, someone used the example of Spurs. Let's just use it for the sort of, I think Spurs at the moment are a much more functional team at the moment. We're playing a style of play. I don't know what Ten Hag's style of play is at the moment. I haven't got a clue.
Well, he told you. He told you what it was. It's not the Ajax way. It's not the Erik Ten Hag way. He's trying to emulate what he believes Manchester United's style of play is. That's what he came in there, and that's what he said. That's straight from.
But it's all
straight from Eric.
But it's going everywhere, right? And that's my theory with this, right? That's the theory I'm trying to get at. If you put Rasmus Højlund, look, I'll even use your lot for a second. he scores more goals if he plays in that Liverpool system.
He's not
Just
good enough
because
to
he's
score.
in
He
a
does,
system that plays better.
He would score more goals, but again, he's not good enough to play for Liverpool. Not good enough to, he's not better than Jota. He's not better than Nunes.
I was gonna say I don't even think he gets over Nunes or Jota. I don't know who he gets in over.
He's 20
in the
years
central
old.
role there.
For me, Chelsea aren't a functional team. Jackson's sitting there on 6 Premier League goals.
But
but let's be fair. He scored a hat trick against us, and that was
even if you take those 3 away, it's still 3.
Yeah. Take away the hat trick. Yeah. Pretend that game never even happened. Jackson.
It's still 3, yeah. And some assists.
Jackson, I'm going to say this right now. People forget this. Jackson gets more heat than Højlund does, and Jackson costs like 25 mil. And how about this? Jackson's young as well. Jackson's like 22.
And he was a winger, not a striker. Didn't he play the left wing? Wasn't that his natural position?
He can play a few, but he is predominantly a striker. But my point is, Jackson is a young striker that came in for a third of the price of Højlund, but Jackson gets more stick. Understand? I'm not saying
I can agree with you.
I'm not saying, let me finish for a second. I don't think Højlund's a bad footballer. I think he has good attributes and he has a very high ceiling. However, for the attributes he has, it is not good enough to not be recording any goals or assists at this point in the season off of your own back. Because at the end of the day, there are other strikers in this Premier League that have at least scored 1 Premier League goal off of their own quality alone. You don't always need... do you think Morris from Luton gets chances created for him? That man has to feed off scraps game in, game out. You think Chris Wood gets enough game time? Chris Wood has Premier League goals. Chris Wood.
Yeah, but you've got. By the way, I actually agree with. I actually agree with you.
And they feed off scraps.
I do agree with what you're saying. But is it fair to say that Rasmus Højlund
Sarr has a goal?
Ultimately, he's not Manchester United's problem. I mean, he's not Manchester United's problem.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's the problem, but my point is nothing is being said.
And to be fair with you, in the Champions League, he's the one that kept games alive when they were playing against Galatasaray.
But they're bottom of their group, so it doesn't matter to me. They're bottom of their group.
Well, I know. I understand that, but he needs to score. That's 100%. He's also 20 years old, and you know what I'm saying. Like, if you bring up why Manchester United are in shambles, he's got to be the least of your concerns.
Yeah, of course. There's so many problems, but if I'm listing the things, I guarantee you right now, 2 or 3 goals would have probably taken Manchester United out of a few of their troubles, at least in the Premier League. Literally, I'm sorry. Goals swing the pendulum for certain games.
They don't have a way of playing.
Rasmus Højlund is a good footballer, but not effective enough. He's not good enough to lead that line at the moment.
I like him, but I actually agree with you, Mons. I think the problem is what happens. The problem is that Man United is he shouldn't be your one that you rely on. They're relying on a kid to basically go and bail him out. And I think that's the bit I was trying to get at. We can sit there and say he doesn't get, and I get what your point is we give, everyone talks about Nicholas Jackson, but no one talks about Højlund. And when the problem is that you're relying on a kid like that to score you goals, we don't know how this kid's going to end up. He could some out of nowhere just fly into it and completely take own of it all and stuff. But some don't. And the problem is now Martial starting, and he is not the answer. He scored.
Yeah, but and also he hasn't started ever. He's played 12 appearances for Manchester United. He hasn't started in all of them. A lot of times he's coming
like 2 games. He started like 2 games.
He started in 2 games. But this team is not. It's not. It doesn't. They don't have a style of football.
Scott McTominay would be better up front than Rasmus Højlund.
But he's their top goal scorer at the moment.
When you don't have an identity football wise, the one that suffers is the striker. The one that suffers is
sat up and said exactly.
I'm not asking for Højlund to have 14 goals in 14 games. I'm asking him to have record 1 goal or an assist. Do something.
I get that.
Do something, bro. Because if that was any of us, we'd be getting cooked week in, week out, cooked. And I haven't even gone to the defense.
I actually get your point. I do actually agree with what Mons is saying. I think Mons makes a really good point. I think you're right. I think, listen, Richarlison gets a lot of stick. I'm just using him. He's a Spurs player, so it's a good example. He gets roasted, but what I would say on this, and look, we'll slightly move on because I want to talk about another team that are in poor form. But what I will say on this part is, I think I agree with Chris. He's not the problem. He's not the one that you go, he's the issue at Man United. He's the future of Man United, I think. And I will put it out there. I think Højlund is the future of Man United. The problem is when you've got your future at £72 million, does that not, isn't that everything that's wrong with football in 2023? That their future prospect cost them nearly £100 million. And that goes, by the way, for the team we're going to talk about in a second, but that's everything that's wrong, right?
100%. Even I always say Caicedo is not the problem. Caicedo is not the problem at Chelsea, but he ain't moved the needle either. He ain't moving the needle. Do you know what I'm saying? Average at best. See what I'm saying? So therefore, guys, these players can't play without pressure and just kind of flourish.
Marcus Rashford is on $400K a week, and he doesn't run back. I mean, he's one of the biggest problems.
I think Marcus Rashford is one of the most overrated football players in the Premier League, and I'll stand by my theory. He gets rated because of his off-field. He gets rated because of his off-field activities. By the way, he does amazing stuff. By the way, that's my point. He gets rated because of that, and that is what's wrong with it and stuff. At the moment, his attitude and gameplay, I think he's awful. But Man United, though, what I will say, Man United collectively are all over the place, right? They're all over the place.
Well, the people that's holding them together are the two players that had one foot out the door in the summer. You know, they're keeping this guy's job alive, and he was like, I didn't want these clowns. And the people that he's brought in have been absolutely piss poor. Anthony's been garbage. There's another player. I know he gets a lot of shtick, but 100 million, I'm looking at Mudryk the same way. I'm looking at Anthony, these guys that get brought in that don't get enough shtick, I think. Like, this is Ten Hag's people. This to me, yes, United have a problem, but what they don't have a problem is getting the manager who he wants. Who do you want? Oh, $100 million winger that you used to manage? Cool. You can get a tune out of him, right? There was a great thing that fhtv said the other day, and he said, I go to a chef and they make this really good dish, and I say, I'm going to hire you for this event. Now you're going to cater this event. I need you to make that dish. They show up to the event, and they're making a completely different dish. It's like, I didn't hire you to make this completely different dish. I hired you for what you showed me. And now what he's showing, I just think he's a fraud. If Daniel Levy, of all people, comes out and says, this guy's weird and has no charisma, bro, there's something wrong there. I was mad at Levy at the time. I was like, how dare he? Eric Ten Hag would come here and be a great manager. But look at him. I think he's a shame. I think the pressure of Man United is too much for some people.
That's 100%. I didn't rate him because simply he just didn't prove. This is Manchester United we're talking about, with Liverpool, you know what I mean, Real Madrid, these clubs, like United. Emery could have had he could have put his resume and say, I deserve to be on this spot. He could have, you know what I'm saying, because he's won with lesser teams. He's won stuff in European football. Ten Hag
got to philosophy too,
and Ten Hag got to a semifinal of Champions. Was that it? Semifinal to the Champions League, and that was that. That was it. You know what I'm saying? And the first season was cool. It was a trial season. You know, they finished fourth, I believe, or fourth, third. I don't know when the last season what they ended up being, but then you gave them too much. You gave him the power to get all his former players. When have you ever seen a manager bring all his? Most of these guys are from Ajax. You know what I'm saying? It's just nonsense.
Yeah,
this club is backwards.
Well, look, I think the key bit here is when we talk about team managers being backed, he has been backed and it's not working. So from that theory, you've got to make a decision with Ten Hag.
But what Montez,
he wanted Ericsson, he wanted Casemiro, he wanted Martinez, he wanted Onana, he wanted Anthony.
He brought
all these lads, right?
He created problems that he didn't have, as much as problems he already had. He brought in Onana to be messy with his feet. You don't need that. You know what I'm saying?
But they don't even play that way either.
They don't even play that way.
Bring him in to do what he's good at, and you don't even play to the style that lends.
I have no at the start of the season, though,
brother, and you have no conviction. You take Harry Maguire in the preseason here in the United States, take the captaincy away, and you end up playing him right now. You know what I'm saying? You wanted to sell him. If he didn't leave, it's because he just didn't want to go to West Ham. If not, he would have been going. And now he's your starter for every single match. You have no conviction. This guy, to Mont's point, 100% I agree with that, because I've been saying it too. This team is just full of regular players with a regular manager, and you can't expect more than that. That's it.
Yeah, I think as well that when you look at, I can't remember which one of you said he creates his own problems, is that obviously De Gea didn't have the best season, But De Gea, I think I like. Listen, I'll take De Gea's performance last season over what I'm seeing. Everyone says, "Oh, De Gea was making loads of mistakes last season."
He was saving
Onana has made he's made more mistakes than De Gea has from the whole of last season. In the space of maybe 2 months, by like October, he'd made the same. You could make a fell comp of Onana in the space of 2 months to Man United, but they were making fell comps of David De Gea over the course of 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that? You're looking at his signings, and of course, Casemiro worked. Martinez were good signings, but the majority of them haven't worked. Højlund is one that could work. Anthony's not worked. Mount's not worked. The wing backs, I don't think he even knows which wing back he wants to go with. Whether it's Wan-Bissaka, is it Darlow?
Reguilon's been their best wing back, and he's on loan from us.
Exactly.
There's another thing I want to throw out there. Could you imagine?
Amrabat, average, bro. Jafar from Aladdin, average, bro.
No, don't call him Jafar. No,
bro. They got to stop signing people from after the World Cup. Like same thing with James Rodriguez at Real Madrid. Y'all got to stop doing that, man. I'm serious. Like,
it's not good enough.
Amrabat is cool, but man, he was. They were waiting for him. They were negotiating for a month to get this guy to be what. And I will never agree that Casemiro. You didn't say that, but most people like now don't rate him. And when he stepped foot of Madrid, he was, to me, the best defensive midfielder in the world. And he didn't just come here or to Manchester and become a bad player. It's just that the team, you can't, you know what I'm saying? You got to have a balance, man.
People were saying he was the best defensive mid in the league that first year he came to Madrid, or excuse me, when he came to United. Look, I just think if could you imagine, right? If Ange Postecoglou said Vicario is my main guy, and we went out and got him, and that's the keeper I want, and then he's going and doing what Onana has done. The amount of Spurs fans that would be blaming Ainge, blaming Levy for going the cheap route, it would be so. Yeah. But it's, hey, I think Onana's under a tremendous amount of pressure. I think people speak about him enough as far as the fans go. He's been absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, no, listen, guys. Look, I want to say
he hasn't been the same since Lucas Moura had his way with him, but that's neither here nor there.
Unbelievable. Shame.
Great Lucas
I respect
Moura,
that. Look, we'll move on to the last one because I want to talk about another manager that is probably under a bit of pressure as well. And then we'll sort of slightly wrap up in about 15 or so minutes. Is Chelsea's form ever going to change? Because, and when I say that, they win a game and then they go and lose one. They are up and down all over the place. And injuries aside, because they have had loads of injuries, and I'll always caveat that. How long do these owners at Chelsea give Pochettino? Look, Jacob, look, I'll let you start it off. Look, how long do they give Pochettino? Because I think he could go.
Yeah, I just think with Pochettino, it's not great. Not going well, and I think they have a lot of the same gripes that Manchester United fans have, ironically, with the whole, I'm not seeing a philosophy, Chilwell, left wing. They're asking a lot of questions, and I think Pochettino is in over his head. I think he's going to be found out sooner rather than later, but from their perspective, I think they got to give it some time. I think you can't just keep sacking and hoping that the next one fixes it. The next one. To me, it reminds me of like a person who thinks that they're not the toxic one in the relationship, and yet they're like, okay, well, my next one won't be toxic. And then it's like, why does this keep happening? It's sometimes I think Chelsea needs to look in the mirror and say, hey, and I think that could be what they're trying to do with their new ownership. They fired the groundskeeper. I mean, no one was safe when the new regime came over. So I think that they turned everything around, and everyone's saying, wow, this is different. But sometimes change is uncomfortable. Change can look different to all types of people. And I think, honestly, if they do trust in Pochettino, I don't expect them to, but if they do, I actually do think that he could turn things around there. But he's going to need at least 18 months, in my opinion. You're going to have to give him at least 2 windows. Not just 2 windows, but you need him in there, having those young minds soaking up his message and all reading off the same hymn sheet. He's shown that he can do that. He's shown that he cannot do it with Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. but with young kids buying into a philosophy, he can not maybe get them to where they want to be, but help them take a step in that direction. And I think they have to give that some time.
See, look, me and Jacob agree on a lot of things. I think we agree on that one. And you know,
except for Newcastle being in the top 6, but other than that, we agree.
We top 6.5. But look, listen. I understand Chelsea is a big club and all that jazz, man. But look, they decided to bring all these preschoolers to the team. So you got to, now you have them in the club. So you got to just keep training, give them time. You can't turn this around in one season. Expect them to do what? You know what I'm saying? It's just, you got to give them time. Now, was it the right decision to do that all at once? Maybe not. You know what I mean? Knowing that Chelsea has expectations and fans want to kill Pochettino all over Twitter. I see it. But hey, you just got to give the man time. You know, not everybody. What you see in Eddie Howe, what you see in Postecoglou is unheard of. It doesn't happen as often. You see what I'm saying? Like what they've done in one season, but they also don't have these such young players. They have some experienced players. You know what I mean? So imagine this Tottenham without Son, without a great signing in Vicario, nobody talks about, without all these guys that brought in. I forgot the name, some of the names, but you know what I'm saying? You need some experience, and so they just brought all these young players, man. And unfortunately, and the fact that they also paid a lot for some of these doesn't help. Kind of what Rasmus Højlund and the argument we had before this, you know. So yeah, give them time.
Yeah,
I do got to drop out, y'all. But I did want to say a few pointers. Christian Romero and Richarlison both separately have more goals than Gabriel Jesus, the fraud, have more goals than Gabriel Martinelli, the absolute fraud. So they can all hold that. Martin Odegaard is, I still laugh when they told me Odegaard's better than Madison. I still laugh. Monts, I remember going on Big Six Bands. Make sure you subscribe to Big Six Bands. But I remember going on there when we first signed James Madison. I think Ethan had sent me the link. He's like, bro, I know you're gassed. And I was just like, Odegaard who? Mason Mount who? Kai Havertz? This is who I have to compete with. And of course, look, can't wait for Madison to come back. I have enjoyed the chat. Big up to every single one of you. Everyone in the chat, make sure you are hitting a like and subscribing to everyone. I am sorry that I have to dip out early. Just my full-time job.
Yeah, guys, make sure you go over to United Spurs of America and go and subscribe to Jacob. You are flying at the moment.
So me and Jacob don't have beef, ladies and gentlemen.
No, we don't.
No,
I just disagree vehemently that Newcastle don't deserve. I will fight tooth and nail for my club. I will fight tooth and nail for my club.
And he's entertaining. Him and his dog.
Even if I'm wrong, Romero's better than Saliba, and I don't care what anyone says. My eyes don't perceive me. My eyes don't mislead me. This is so good of an opinion. I made Mons leave. You see how I did?
Scared Mons of. Guys, make sure you go and subscribe to Jacob. I assume most of you in the chat already have. If you haven't, go over to United Spurs of America.
Oh, big up, man. Thank you.
The link is tagged in the bio. So go in there, click on there, make sure you go over and subscribe. And also go and subscribe to the other guys as well. Make sure we'll give them the,
hold that,
the
Angus, you
surrounding
absolute
goodbyes.
fraud. Look at you. Look at that absolute shambles of a kit that you have in your profile picture, Angus. You're also named after a piece of steak. So hold that, Angus McDowell. I'm actually going to go eat some Angus for dinner. So thank you so much for inspiring me.
We love Angus, by the way. Angus is our resident Arsenal fan in the chat. He's the best.
He can hold that. He's holding that L very firmly with both hands. So big up to you, Angus. Big up to everyone in the chat. Make sure you do hit a like on.
Yeah, guys, make sure you go and subscribe to Jacob as well.
Big up,
thanks, Jacob.
Catch
you later, mate.
Cheers.
Bye. Look, guys, we're going to go for another 10 or so more minutes and stuff, and I just want to sort of get these guys' thoughts. Chris, look, I'll start with you. Weekend or Champions League tomorrow. We'll sort of just talk about your lot for a second. Massive game. How do you think it's going to end up? How do you think it's going to go? Let me know. I want to know how it's going to go.
Well, you know, listen, the amount of tournaments that we're playing, we're not used to that, you know, and that's kind of what, again, don't want to use the tiredness, exhaustion type excuse, because at the end of the day, the manager needs to be able to know what players he can put on. We proved against Manchester United playing young kids that you can go out there at Old Trafford and beat them. So that's not an excuse. The manager needs to know what he needs to do. But look, I think that we can beat Milan at home. I don't think that's going to be a problem. The only problem is that PSG has to lose away. And can that happen? Of course it can happen. Actually, Borussia Dortmund, the team they're playing, if they lose, they will lose the first spot, which is some people care about. So maybe they have that motivation, but regardless, they could rest their players too, and then PSG goes out there and wins, and then we're screwed. But regardless, man, I think we have a shot going to the Europa League, so that would be great as well. You know, so it is what it is, man. The focus is winning a trophy to me in this season, and it has to be the Carabao Cup.
Yeah. No, definitely. No, I get it completely, totally understand. Mons as well. You lot are playing Julian Sunkiloche. You guys are already sorted in that group, top of the league, right?
Yeah.
Do you expect Klopp to just take a bunch of academy lads?
Pretty much, to be fair. I
No,
feel
but Mons, you got to win this Europa League, bro.
Are you talking about the cup? The group. We won the group.
But they've already won the group,
No. I'm talking about Liverpool Football Club. I'm not talking about you passing the group stage. Come on now.
Oh, is it winning the competition? Yeah, I believe we have the credentials to win it. I think we should.
Yeah, Liverpool is probably the best team in the tournament.
It depends who falls into the Europa League from the Champions League. I think that also depends as well.
But if you've already topped the group, right, which means you avoid the round of 32.
Yeah. So
yeah. I mean, I would, if I were you lot, just you go youth and take them. You want to protect that team. You don't want any more injuries, right?
No, of course not. I just think we take because again, Arsenal and Man United back to back. Although they're both at Anfield, they're not easy fixtures.
Arsenal goal, man. Oh, offside?
VARing it, I think. Yeah.
Shit, man.
Yeah, no, listen, no, I get it. Listen, I can't talk about Europe. We're not in it this year, which is always fun. I mean, I'll be honest, I was happy with
one thing though, Perchy, man, it's so crazy, bro. Like I think somebody needs to work something out to allow more teams in the Premier League, because damn, it's always somebody gonna get snubbed. You know what I mean? It's only
what do you mean? Allow more teams? What do you mean?
Like more than 4 a season, maybe 5.
For what? Sorry.
Like, you know, the top 4 make it to the Champions League in the Premier League.
You think there should be more teams in it?
Yeah, I think it should be a little more, because
really?
I mean, you get
I would go
teams
the other
snubbed.
way. I think there should be one team in it. The champion.
What
should be?
You're gonna have? Oh no, man.
100%. It's called the Champions League, not the top 4 league.
But I know, but man, that's wild.
What do you mean?
I'm old school when it comes to the Champions League. I think the Champions League is now just literally a marketing scheme, and all it is so UEFA make loads of money. It should be the best team in every country in Europe should be in that tournament, but it isn't, because
you wouldn't even have group stages. I mean, it would kind of be boring.
You would, of course, you would. I mean, there's loads of teams in Europe. The problem is it's not marketable. They want the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, 100%. Man City, Man United. But this is the problem. This is why I can't stand next year's tournament. Has everyone seen what the layout for next year is? It's absolutely awful.
Hey, if you would have beat Mons a couple of years ago, you would have been standing by it. You would.
What do you mean? No. Listen, being in it's great. No, I get you. I get the sentiment, but I've always said, like, I think the Champions League has lost the name. It shouldn't be called the Champions League. It should be the best 4 teams in your league. Do you know what I mean?
I get
it used to be, back in the day, it used to be the Champions League was for the champions. The European Cup was for the best teams in Europe. I just think it gets really, really silly. I think listen, I get it. I understand your sentiment, but do you really want more Premier League teams in it? Really?
Well, I mean, I think the Premier League has just got too many good teams. You know what I mean? Well, except Manchester United, who I don't know.
Based on what though?
Well, it's a really competitive. I think Mons brought it up earlier too. I mean, you know, anybody can beat anybody, and I'm not saying that everybody
happens. I'll debunk that. Happens in every league, my friend.
No, true.
Happens in every league.
I'm a big defender of it. Yeah, I'm a big defender of every other league.
Premier League. I hear this about the Premier League all the time, and it's anyone could beat anybody. Who's top in Spain at the moment?
Oh, Girona, yeah, but it doesn't happen much often, right? You know, it doesn't
Yeah,
happen all
but
the
when
time.
we say anybody can beat anybody, happens in most leagues.
Yeah, no, I
Most
agree
leagues
to that.
happen, right?
I agree with that. I agree with that. Yeah, but you know, I don't know. 4 teams. Because last season, who the one that made it? Newcastle, Manchester United, Arsenal, um
City.
and
Sick.
City. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean,
But
I think
otherwise, what that does is it makes there's no sense of achievement anymore because there's a reason why at the moment that the Premier League, when we talk about competitive, it's not really, is it? The same teams win it every year, realistically.
right. Yeah.
So,
But there's a reason behind it.
Everyone calls our league competitive. City have won the last five in the
City
last.
have won the last 3 in a row, and I think they've won
But
6 of the last 7.
Let that have been Bayern Munich. Everyone would have said, "Call this a farmers league," you know.
No question. And then listen,
Monts,
I'm the one that actually defends you know, other leagues, not just the Premier League, because a lot of people just say the Premier League is it and nothing else exists. I definitely don't agree with that whatsoever. But you know, yeah, I mean, I get your point of view though. I get it. You know what I'm saying?
I think what happens is when we say there's so many good teams in the Premier League, good teams everywhere. I think money in football has made that, right? Premier League has loads of money, and that's where I think people. I think that's where most people sort of think. Mons, I know you got to shoot. I've just seen that. Look, we're going to end in about 2 minutes. If you're okay to stay for 2 more minutes.
Yeah, I'll stay.
Cool, man. We'll wrap it up now because I have to shoot as well because I've got a podcast to record later and I've got to have some food. Look, I'll end on that point. Boys, I want to give you a little bit of a moment. Look, Chris, I'll let you start. Shout out your channel, my friend. Let's get people on there. Guys in the chat, make sure you've got the link and we'll get everyone in here to subscribe to you, my friend.
I got a neutral channel, Top FC TV. We talk about all things Premier League. Yeah, man, all team. I'm a Newcastle fan, but you know, talk all things Premier League there.
Yeah.
And if you happen to be a Newcastle fan, I do have a baby channel called The American Magpie. You can just, if you're a Newcastle fan, go follow over there. But yeah, Top FC TV and The American Magpie.
Let me just get it. No, that's absolutely fine, mate. I think you're nearly up to 1K. So look, everyone in the chat, go over now and let's get everyone that's in here that hasn't, go over there and I've just put the link in the chat. Go over there and subscribe. Let's get 20 or 30 of you. Let's get you closer to 1K so you can get some sweet monetization, my friend. So guys, everyone in the chat, please go over there and subscribe to Chris now. Let's help him out here. Mons, my friend, talk to me. Talk to me about your channel. What you got going up soon, mate?
Big Six Bands. We're live at 11 till 12 today. United versus Bayern match reaction, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, just again, it's toxic, shouting, screaming.
Love it. Best part of it, right?
All that crazy. Yeah, that's pretty much the mainstay. So if you're into all that, go subscribe. More importantly, smash like on this video and subscribe.
Cheers. And guys, obviously, if you're around here, make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're subscribing over here as well, guys. I've put their links in. Go over there, subscribe to theirs. Where have I put it? Oh, there you go. There's Top FC TV, and there is Big Six Banks. Jacob's in the chat. You don't need his link. He will do it for you. You must all be subscribed to Jacob by now. Look, guys, thank you very much. I actually really enjoyed that. It was a good laugh. Cheers from that. And on that note, guys, come on, you Spurs. I mean, why not? Because it is what it is. Guys in the chat, as always, just before I do run, Thursday, we've got Spurs Unleashed Thursday, watch along on Friday, Spurs Review Sunday, maybe a watch along on Sunday. I might do the Man United Liverpool game watch along. But on that note, guys, thank you very much. Have amazing time. Good luck to Newcastle later on in their game. And good luck to you boys tomorrow on Thursday against Union Saint-Gilloise. If I can try and butcher their name. Guys, thank you very much, guys. I think the redirects will put it to Lee Gunner to go over there and do an FHTV raid. Peace out, guys. Bye-bye.
Take care.